Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This week I would love to share with you some of the tips and tricks of transporting your tiny house. Most of you guys know I transported my tiny house for the last time a few weeks ago when I got my land. In that transport, which was a nightmare of a transport, you guys can check it out right there. It was terrible, and I would love to share some of those tips and tricks with you guys so these things don't happen to you, because I did not know about them when I moved my tiny house. Let's get into the video. Number one, if you have anything exposed to the outside elements, such as pipes, make sure that you put a cover on it. That is my extra toilet vent pipe, and if rain started getting into that pipe, then things could have went bad. I was only driving 5 hours from Sparta to West Tennessee, and I thought that I wasn't going to need that cover. I did not put it on. But in my transport, I ended up needing to stop the driver so we could put it on because it had started to rain. If you do have any exposed pipes, make sure, no matter the weather, to cover them because you don't know what's going to happen in your transport. Number two, you're going to want to make sure you have at least a 4x4 truck in order to move your tiny house. Not every tiny house does need a 4x4, but it is very helpful if you do have one. A couple of my moves, they did not have a 4x4. They tried to hook up to the house and just could not pull it. A lot of them were spinning in the mud. It just didn't work out well. Going forward, I suggest a 4x4 truck to move your tiny house. No matter where you go, no matter how many axles you have, a 4x4 is the way to go. Number three, make sure that 4x4 has an adjustable ball hitch that is rated for 20,000 pounds tongue weight. The first transport guy came with a 2-inch ball hitch and not an adjustable ball hitch. My friend had to give him a 2 5/16 ball hitch, and when we started to travel, he had to pull over 45 minutes in because the 2 5/16 ball hitch bent, but his was not adjustable, so we had to stop and I had to get another transport person. In order for this to not happen again, make sure that that 4x4 that you're using has an adjustable ball hitch. Number four, when you hook the truck up to the trailer, make sure that it's completely level. Because of that adjustable ball hitch, you're going to be able to make sure that the truck has the same height as the trailer. That's going to make for a smoother ride. Number five, make sure that the weight of the trailer can accommodate the weight that's inside. So if you have a single axle that can usually hold about 20,000 pounds and a triple axle can usually hold about 42,000 pounds. My trailer specifically is a triple axle. We have not had it weighed at any weigh station, but the builder said that it was 13,000 pounds without my stuff in it, and everyone else and myself was guessing that my stuff was at least 1,000 to 4,000 pounds. Supposedly the triple axle was good enough for the stuff inside. Number six, make sure that you have the correct size leaf springs on your tires. Mine triple axle all had 5 leaf springs on it. I had a problem with my last transport where a leaf spring broke, and that trailer repair guy said there is supposed to be a 6 leaf spring on all of these tires. When your builder built this house on top of the trailer, he should have known that the weight he was building on top of it needed 6 leaf springs, but that didn't happen. Maybe during your build, if it's a custom build, make sure that you maybe mention to your builder, will the weight that you're building on top of my trailer, will the leaf springs that are on that trailer be enough to hold what you're building? If not, have them replace them with 6 leaf springs. Number seven, you're going to want to distribute the weight inside your tiny house evenly. If there is too much weight in the front, that is going to help make it unlevel. And if there's too much weight in the back, same thing. So you want to make sure that there is enough weight in the front, the middle, and the back in order to basically level that trailer out so that it can be even with the truck. This also prevents you from having to stop during your transport and get out, redistribute stuff inside your house if the truck driver is having problems. Number eight, Hire local if you can. If you are in Tennessee, don't hire somebody from California to move your tiny house, because gas prices these days are astronomical and you're actually paying for gas to get them from that state to your state and then back home. If you can find somebody local, that would be the best thing that you can do, because they don't have to travel far to get to you, and then they don't have to travel far home. Number 9. Keep in communication with all parties involved. Now, this includes the transport person, the transport dispatch person, if there's a go-to person that you're calling at the company. This also means anybody that you're meeting here at that time. It also includes giving them the correct information about your house, weight, size, height, triple axle or not, and whether or not all of the stuff is working. So if your trailer lights are working, if you have an emergency brake on there, if your tires are filled, all of these things make a difference to the transport person as well. Updates are very important. If something changes at the headquarters and you need to know something, that person needs to keep in touch with you. If you have a problem with your tiny house transport and they need to find you another person, you need to exchange numbers and make sure that they're keeping in contact with you about times, dates, and transport location and all of that. You need to keep in communication with everybody involved. Number 10, if you are traveling with animals, have a backup plan. I was traveling with chickens, cats, and a bunch of things went wrong in my transport. I did not have a backup plan. My chickens were stuck in the house for a period of time. At least they did have cages, but they had no food, they had no water, and I didn't have a way to transport them to a safe place to stay. My land did have a mobile house on it, so I was able to transport the cats here. That was my plan B-ish for that, but I did not have it in place until I randomly thought of it. So if you do travel with animals, have that backup plan so that you can revert to it if all these issues happen like it did with me. Number 11, now this is a really big one. Have extra cash on hand no matter what. I only had the cash on hand for my tiny house transport, which was, I believe, $1,700 in the beginning. But $4,000 plus later, I did not think that I was going to have to come up with all of those repairs. Didn't think of any of that until after it happened. So make sure you do bring extra cash. Make sure you have a Cash App, a Venmo. If you get a blown tire, these guys want to be paid on the spot, and you cannot leave until you pay them in full. Have that cash on hand so you're not stuck at the side of the road with no option or no plan because you didn't have the money. Number 12, make sure you have at least one spare tire with your tiny house. My tiny house was supposed to have a spare tire underneath it. And when the first blowout happened during my last transport, we looked under the tiny house and there was no spare tire. RVs have spare tires, cars have spare tires, trucks have spare tires. Tiny houses should also have spare tires. We couldn't find one, so I am recommending that before you leave on your tiny house transport, make sure you have an extra one inside your house, underneath the house somewhere, or if you're traveling with another truck, make sure you put an extra spare tire in there, because if not, you are going to have to rely on a roadside emergency person to come and bring you a tire. These things aren't cheap. They're anywhere from $200 to $400, and this is including labor. So if I would have just had a spare tire that came along with the house, that could have saved me at least one of my blown spare tires. Number 13, if it's at all possible, make sure that you know the weight of your trailer with your stuff in it. If you decide to take some of your stuff out and transport it in a different vehicle, that's fine. But if you can, make sure that that transport person goes to a truck stop and gets your house with your stuff in it weighed, so that you know exactly how much your house weighs and how much that truck can actually pull. Because some trucks can't pull a specific amount of weight. So it's just good to know in the beginning how much your house weighs. Number 14, make sure you have your trailer inspected before you leave. This includes making sure there's air in your tires, check the leaf springs, check your frame, check the axle, check the lights to see if they're working, make sure that the truck you're going to be using is a 4x4, make sure that has an adjustable hitch. Make sure you have an emergency cord. All of these things need to be in proper working order for your transport to go smooth. If something is loose, if the tire is touching the wheel well, you don't want that. Fix it before you leave. Number 15, make sure that the driver that you hire is licensed and insured. Whether this is a friend doing it, whether it's a company doing it, whether it's a hotshot driver, somebody you hired off of U-Ship, make sure that the vehicle that you are driving is licensed and insured to take your tiny house. If not, have tiny house travel insurance put on your own insurance. Number 16, have a plan B for your entire transport. Did not plan for any of my issues to happen. Did not plan for it to be a whole 20 days. I did not have a backup plan. I am suggesting that you guys have a backup plan before you take off in more ways than one. Traveling with animals, what you're going to do about yourself if something happens, how you're going to pay for it if something happens, how you're going to fix it if something happens, who's going to help, where they're going to lead you, who you're going to call. All of those things need to be written down and hopefully not used. Number 17, not so much of a plan B, but expect delays. Just because you think that your tiny house travel is going to go 5 hours, it's not always going to happen that way. So just expect delays. You might need to go to the bathroom. You might need to stop to adjust something in the house. You might need to stop for food. If a driver is traveling over, I think 11 or 12 hours, they have to stop and wait till the next morning to travel. So just expect delays. Just know that those are part of tiny house transport in the long run. Number 18, make sure that you are understanding. I was very impatient during this whole transport because, again, I expected my house to be from Sparta to West Tennessee in 5 hours. Each delay that happened, I was not understanding of it. I was mad. I was impatient. I tried my hardest to be understanding, but I just didn't get it. We had 4x4s, we had adjustable hitches, but one thing after another happened. So if you can, just be understanding of the whole situation. Delays that might happen, problems that might happen, just be understanding. I wasn't. Number 19, take into consideration weekends, after hours, holidays. Don't plan your tiny house transport around these times because around these times is when they're going to charge you more. If someone has to come out and fix a tire on a Sunday or on their off time, they're possibly going to charge you a lot more. So do take those things into consideration when you plan it and for your plan B, just in case some things happen. You might have to pay somebody extra money to come out when they're on their vacation just to help you. Yep, they're gonna charge more for their inconvenience and for it being convenient that they're out there. And number 20, if you just bought land and it has some grass on it and it just rained a couple days before, don't tell your transport person to drive through the grass when it's wet. This is something that not everybody is going to do, but because I had no idea and didn't even think about it, I told the transport guys to drive through the grass. The house was stuck and it was stuck for 15 days because we had to wait until it was dry in order to move it. If I would have just left it up to the transport people in the beginning, they probably would have backed it onto the pad and bypassed my drive through the grass idea so that they can drive it onto the foundation. Just leave it to the transport guy. They will probably know exactly what to do. That's just one lesson that I am going to pass on to you guys and learn from my experience. I am telling you, this is the last time that I move my tiny house. I am so glad that I do not have to deal with trailer maintenance or transport nightmares. I hope that this video helps you guys in your journey because I didn't know a lot of this stuff and I am happy to pass it on to you guys. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications bell so you can receive a notification every time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Number 13, if it as and they got stuck for 24 to 5 to 7 to 8 to 9. They got stuck for 15 days. Don't put that. If you hold up. If you are going, don't put that. The tiny house, make sure that hold on. Make sure that it is completely level.